we live in a world where people's attention spans are so minute. They constantly need to do something different. They're never.
Yeah, that's what I was going on to.
So, like, I eat a very boring diet. I repeated myself for fucking 5 years, you know. And for some people, it gets boring, so they want to try something new. And then what they want to do is they want to tell the whole world they're trying something new. And
that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like we went vegan, and it was exciting. We had this change, and I think a part of it is that people like, again, Evan and Elise and Drew, you do something for like 5 or 6 years, and then it kind of seems exciting to switch something up, and you become into, I think it's a little mental delusion where you actually convince yourself that, ooh, maybe there's a better, more modern, crazier extreme diet I can find, and it becomes exciting when you think that everything you thought you knew was wrong, and here's the next thing. But that's stupid because that's not scientific. That's your own mental problems. Yeah. Okay, a few more.
I don't know. I got a call coming in and something happened. So anyway, look, I've tried every diet under the sun in my 20s. You know, I actually did a low-carb diet longer than anyone I've ever known. I did it for like 3 years, you know, when I was like in my early 30s. But the reality is, I'm older now. I hope I'm a little wiser, and the science is pretty freaking clear. You know, when you get my age, you start to worry about cancer, heart disease. These kids aren't thinking about that. They think they're immune to all this shit. You know,
yeah,
I get it. You know, but they're wrong.
Yeah, and I also understand that they introduce animal products, and they're such higher in calories. It's more nutrient dense in certain nutrients that maybe they weren't getting because they were in a restrictive mindset in the plant-based diet, and they see a benefit, and I understand why they would change their diet, but it still doesn't mean that the science about longevity is different just because you got a certain benefit from eating a high calorically dense food. It doesn't change the longevity science.
Yeah, I could do ecstasy right now and feel amazing. Does that mean it's good for me? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Okay, well, we've already gone on for a while, and I have a few other points kind of to hit that I want to ask you. First off, just from a pure, I gotta say this, and again, Evan, Rock, and Megan are my personal friends, and I think they are cool, and they're my friends. Your video with the fucking laughing people, I was dying. I was dying, dude. Everyone go watch that video. I'm linking it down below. It has nothing to do with nutrition, nothing to do with science. It's just a fun YouTube thing, and you know, we are giving advice and we are keeping it real, but you also got to have fun on YouTube, and it's entertaining, and that shit was hilarious. It was incredible. Okay, I want to address the video you made about oysters, which again, I respect you so much, and we are so similar, dude, because I hate these tribal vegans who are going to try to think of reasons for people to eat 100% plant-based just because they're a part of this group and they want to wear a badge and they identify with it. And you made this video about oysters, so instead of me explaining it, can you explain what that video is about in terms of people who for some reason think they need to eat meat, what a better solution is versus buying, you know, Whole Foods fucking grass-fed beef?
Yeah, all right. So I made that video for 2 reasons. One was because a lot of these ex-vegans say that they care about animals. Well, then why are you going to a fucking a cow or a chicken or a fish that has feelings and are sentient beings that are intelligent, that have the ability to have emotion? Why, if you really care, why aren't you going to a source like bivalves, like oysters or mushrooms? Because from all we know, they're very similar to plants. They don't have a central nervous system. So if you really say that you felt like you needed animal products, why aren't you eating a bivalve? That's number one. Number two, let's say either one, you're a purist and you don't want to take any supplements, or two, that you truly, maybe you have an absorption issue, maybe you truly need animal products. I'm not really buying it, but let's say you convinced me.
Right, benefit of the doubt, let's just say.
The benefit of that, okay, maybe you can't absorb it through a plant, some of these nutrients, let's say. Why are you eating a sentient being and not introducing oysters to see if that will resolve the issue. Because what you can get from oysters are all the things that every one of you say you lack in your vegan diet. You can get your B12, you can get lots of zinc, you can get all the DHA and EPA from the omegas, all these things. You can, if you're one of those people that needs a little cholesterol, supposedly, you can get that. So I don't get why you're not, okay, I care about animals. I just don't feel well. I need to introduce some animal products. Why are you going directly to organ meat?
I mean, dude, literally, like, I have nothing to say. It's literally a mic drop moment, what you just said. It's 100% true. It's ridiculous.
It's full of shit that you care about the animals.
Yeah.
And you didn't make every effort to stay vegan like some of these people say you did. Because if you did, you would choose an alternative like a bivalve.
100%.
You would do that for a few months to see if that helped. And if it did, I don't have a problem with people. I like some of the hardcore vegans will have an issue with this, but I don't. If you're eating oysters, I don't have a fucking problem with it. I really
honestly,
don't.
Because there is a lot of science to show that they are more on the spectrum of not having sentience and being more a plant in terms of ethics than a animal. So I also unbiasedly, rationally agree.
Yeah, because the crazy vegan who's eating brown rice, I'm sure there's more animals killed harvesting that, like rodents and insects, than there would be, eating.
Exactly.
I mean, rats are very intelligent. What if rats die when you harvest your rice? Which the whole point of veganism is to do the least harm possible.
Exactly.
I'm not stupid, but I'm saying, so I don't understand why hardcore vegans would give me so much shit about if someone wants.
Because don't even call them a hardcore vegan. This is something I've been trying to say. These are literally tribal, unscientific people. Fuck them. I want to start really only listening and respecting to people that are intelligent and that are rational. Tribalism is not a good thing. We should be living what environmentally, health-wise, and just science-based makes the most sense, not because you want to be on a certain team and it makes you feel good.
I think a lot of these people too, they come from an eating disorder past. They have eating disorder tendencies, and they get obsessed about food and all this stuff. For me, food is just fuel. It doesn't excite me anymore. Most of the people watching my diet would be very boring to them. They pretty much eat the same thing for months on end, and then I'll switch it up based on the season.
I love my diet. I get excited to eat a half a watermelon in the morning, and I get excited to make a salad with tahini and nutritional yeast and legumes. I think the food tastes amazing, and I enjoy a vegan burger once in a while and a burrito with ketchup. I love my food.
That's why every day, because your palate craves what it eats daily. The guy that says, "Oh, I could never give up meat," if he gave it up for 90 days, he wouldn't miss it anymore.
If you gave it up for 20 days, you won't miss it anymore. Okay, a few more things that I want to ask, and then we'll close it down. What's your training like these days? I know you are a very competitive and accomplished jiu-jitsu athlete. Oh, first off, are you into MMA and the UFC, or are you strictly into jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu, both get punched in the head.
So I was never into sports. I played pretty competitive high school indoor volleyball, but I was never into following sports or watching it on TV growing up, ever. I couldn't name the best basketball players, baseball players, football players, but in the last year, probably from listening to Joe Rogan a lot, and I think jiu-jitsu is amazing. I think boxing is amazing, and these athletes are incredible. For the first time in my life, I actually have gotten into the UFC. So I was going to ask you and to talk a little about, like, your predictions or whatever, like this guy Ben Askren. I'm sure you like him because he is a wrestler and he barely ever strikes, and he's coming in and he actually has, I think, a title fight, right, with this guy Jorge Masvidal coming in July. But if you don't follow UFC, we don't have to talk about that.
I follow it a little, but it's just not my passion. I'd rather watch jiu-jitsu, which would be boring to everyone else that doesn't do jiu-jitsu, but do jiu-jitsu, you see the minute details. I'm like, I can watch someone pass someone's guard in jiu-jitsu and be amazed by every little grip, and to someone else it's boring, But yeah, I follow it a little bit. There's most of the best MMA guys are really good wrestlers, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The thing with jiu-jitsu, it's all about control, you know? So, and that's what wrestlers are doing. They're winning these matches because they put the match into their style. They don't let their opponent get into their game, and they control them using leverage and technique, and that's very similar to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
My training regimen now is pretty slacking, to be honest. When I'm in full mode, I usually train jiu-jitsu 5 or 6 days a week. I usually lift weights 3 days a week, and I usually do like a conditioning class 2-3 days a week. Right now, I'm just kind of doing jiu-jitsu, you know, 4 or 5 days a week. But I am going up north on Cape Cod for the whole summer, and I'm going to lift weights with my brother in the morning and get back. And they have like the gym I go to up there has a rec room, they call it, where I can do like, you know, battle ropes and do conditioning.
Yeah, man, the older I get, the less obsessed I am, and I'm still very young, but the less obsessed I get with any like crazy kind of performance. I'm not a competitive person. I simply like to ride my bike, do yoga, do some push-ups, do some pull-ups, and just be healthy and happy and keep it chill, and that's what makes me happy.
I care less about aesthetics than I ever have in my whole life. I'm just too old to give a shit. So
hey, you know, I just
love it, you know?
Yeah, I care about aesthetics because I'm still pretty young, and I think that in this world of social media, unfortunately, because no one wants to hear the science, aesthetics is important. You're not going to follow someone's diet if they look like shit. So recently, even in the last few months, I've been even more inspired. You know, on the bicycle, it's really hard. I literally live on my bicycle that strips all your muscle off. So it's hard for me to keep on size, but like here where I'm chilling for 10 days and taking a rest in El Salvador, I found a little local gym, doing a little stuff, doing pull-ups. So you guys will see me. Once I finish this trip, I'm going to get jacked as fuck again because I really like to show that you can build muscle on a vegan diet and to expose a little bit more of some of this ex-vegan delusion. I was talking to a buddy who, again, is my friend. He is an ex-vegan, gone carnivore. One of the reasons that he started eating meat again.
Take a diet of no vegetables at all.
It's
no fat, healthy.
Dude, my friend said the other week he shit one time in 5 days, and that's actually healthy. That's what he said to me. Okay, so I promise, and this is not like someone who I would call a kook, like. But I'm starting to really see it for what it is. It's getting insane.
He is a kook.
Yeah, and people are saying the fact that, you know, I'm debatably an athlete. I bike so much, and I'm 6'2". I have to eat 3,000 calories, you know, more or less a day. And I was telling them, you know, I eat a whole foods, high fiber diet, and I usually, let's say I take 3 to 4 shits a day, once in the morning, once in the middle of the day, once at night, or maybe one extra. And now you see people online saying that that's so unhealthy and that's unnatural. It's just like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Shit every day.
And like, we're primates, that is normal, and they're saying that it's healthier.
First thing your dog does in the morning, it takes a fucking shit, you know?
It's ridiculous.
And even years ago, before I was vegan, and when I had my old dog, I fed my dog a carnivore diet, to be honest, you know? Because she was having all these skin issues. This was years ago. So I fed her a raw meat diet, like back in like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 years ago. And she thrived, but guess what? She still shit every morning because that's her natural diet, as you know.
Right. And on the topic of dogs and food, I'll just mention this really quick because, you know, Maggie, my dog, is a huge part of my YouTube channel and Instagram because we live together. She's right over there. We're always together. I haven't spent one day without her separated because I got her on this trip and we are cycling together all day, every day. She's my life.
You must be so happy, dude.
I'm so happy. Like, I'm lonely. I'll be the first to admit that. I would like to find a partner. I'd like to find a girlfriend, but it's hard to find someone who lives the extreme lifestyle that I do. But Maggie she's my everything. It's incredible. And, you know, people are saying that it is cruel and unhealthy that I've never purchased animal products for her and she's a vegan dog. One, she eats about 90% of her calories vegan because we are pretty lucky and we live on the road. We're constantly in new places. She's finding bones and meat on the street, and people give it to her all the time. So she gets a little bit of animal products. And her diet that I feed her on a daily basis is essentially very cooked down in mush, because it's not good to feed dogs like slightly undercooked legumes and stuff. They won't digest it. But you know, when I'm on the road, I have a camping stove and I'm cooking for myself. Then when I'm in an Airbnb, I have a kitchen. And what Maggie eats, and I've had her now for 16 months. When I got her, she was obese at the shelter. When I rescued her in LA, she was sick, obese, in terrible health, and she is now she's jacked. People call her the CrossFit dog because she can run. Dude, she can run in one day if it's not too hot throughout the day. So I pull a trailer behind my bike with a bed where she can rest in the shade whenever she wants, and it's fucking hard for me because it's an extra 40 pounds that I'm pulling on my bike, but whatever. I love her. But she runs with me, and she's been vegan now for 16 months. She can run 15 to 20 miles in a day. She's got incredible energy. She sleeps perfectly. She's one of the smartest dogs I've ever met. I've trained her 20 or 30 tricks which she can do. We have our own language together, and her diet is, I feed her a typical meal is cooked down rice or potatoes with a bunch of lentils or beans and something like carrots or zucchini with a bunch of flaxseed and a bunch of plant oil. And dogs need about 30 to 40 calories from fat and protein, and then the rest carbohydrates, and that's what I do. And dogs are objectively not carnivores, they are omnivores, and there are so many documented studies and evidence to show that dogs can live good lives on a plant-based diet with good fats and protein. And let's just say that it would be slightly healthier for her to eat meat, which, by the way, she does eat meat because we find it in the trash, or she eats it just in the road. But I've never purchased animal products for her. And people have been, and so let's just say that it was a little healthier to give a dog a raw meat diet or more animal products. I rescued...
This was years ago, and I have friends I have people I know that do feed their dog vegan, and they're healthy too. So I think it depends on the dog.
Yes.
You know.
But what I was saying is, let's just say that animal products were better. I took a dog out of a shelter who was living a miserable life, and I don't want to contribute to the animal agriculture industry, and that is not vegan. So I am doing the best things on all grounds for the whole situation.
Kibble anyway, right? Because that's what she was getting in the shelter, right?
Oh, exactly. No, her diet is great. She's stoked. She lost all the weight. She's fit. And sometimes if she gets too skinny, I change her diet and she gains the weight back. Her poops are nice and good. They're not full of seeds and nuts. She digests her food. It's just ridiculous. People are trolls, man. They don't know what they're talking about. What else do I have here? One thing I have is I had a friend say that you can't build optimal muscle on a plant-based diet, and that eating meat will optimize muscle growth. Has that been your experience as a super fit dude and as an athlete?
Well, why are there vegans like that Delgado guy that's never even eaten meat his whole life? You know what I mean? He's more jacked than your friend saying that, I'm sure, right?
Right.
But stupid. Fucking the protein obsession, man. It's not, it's just gaining muscle is about eating enough calories and stressing your muscles. That's it,
I 100% agree. If you get 10 to 15 or more % of your calories from protein and you eat sufficient calories and you train, you factually will build muscle.
Yeah, you have to tax the muscles hard. The more you tax them, the more they're going to grow. And number two, you have to eat a good amount of calories to put on size and muscle.
Specifically, you need to be in a caloric surplus. I'm huge on that too. People say, I didn't get results, and they have no idea how much they're eating. They're skinny as fuck. You have to be in a caloric surplus if you want to be like a bodybuilder and get jacked. It's a simple recipe. Eat a whole food, plant-based diet. You don't even need protein supplements. Tax your muscles. Don't do a shit ton of cardio, and live in a 300 to 1,000 caloric surplus every single day, and you'll build big muscles. I have so much personal experience with this. It works every time, period.
Exactly. And I think when I've ever come across people in the last 7 years that say I was tired, I couldn't, whatever, and then they show me their meal, and it's the same portion size as when they ate predominantly meat.
Right.
It's like, and you got to eat 3 times as much volume to eat the same calories. Which, look, we're in this weird culture on social media and especially YouTube where it's in this like bodybuilding culture or whatever. If like some guy made a ridiculous comment on the Furman video yesterday, that guy looks like shit. Are you fucking kidding me? He's 65 years old. He looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like into this, if you don't look bloated and yoked, you're not healthy looking. It's like this weird subculture. But here's the reality. 95% of the world doesn't give a shit about looking yoked or whatever. You know what I mean? They just look like normal people, you know? And you can eat all the food you want on a whole food plant-based diet and remain trim and healthy and have all the energy you need. You just got to make sure your portions are bigger than they were when you were eating a processed food plate or a meat plate, because those foods have significantly more calories. So the volume of food needs to be larger. I mean, it's
all
not
right.
rocket science.
Dude, I've appreciated your time so much. I'm not kidding. You are like my favorite, man. You are the man. I wish that everyone was as rational and chill. You're such a positive influencer on social media, and I know you probably get down sometimes, and I do too, because if you're rational and just chill, that's not what gets rewarded with more financial success on social media or more views. But I'm telling you, man, I cannot respect you enough. You are the man. And the last thing I want to ask you, simply because I think it's interesting to ask different questions, and I'm personally really politically active, do you have any political philosophies? Are you into U.S. or foreign politics at all, and have any opinions on being conservative, progressive, Democrat, any policies at all?
I think they're all criminals. I think a lot of them have good intentions when they get into politics, but then, you know, I'm gonna give you this job if you do this for me. It's a lot of shady shit going on. But in general, I lean more towards a let people do what the fuck they want. I'm very in the sense of capitalism. I believe in capitalism, but I'm on every other spectrum. I'm more liberal. You know what I mean? In the sense, like, I think it's cruel what we do to the underprivileged societies or cultures. You know, like, I think there's a lot of people. I think it's a very minute amount of people with a lot of money that are not looking out for the best interest of everyone else, just themselves. And I think Congress needs to be wiped clean and started over with a whole new group of people, because it's just the same people rotating from working at Monsanto to going into Congress and vice versa. And it's just a circle of greed and shadiness. And so I don't really get into politics too much because of that. I don't trust them.
Yeah, you're definitely a progressive man, which is what I am essentially, and I'm steeped into this stuff. I listen to unbiased news all day, and when I mean unbiased, I mean people like Democracy Now! Or the Young Turks that take no corporate PAC money, have no advertisements from corporations, and the fact is that any establishment political candidate, whether they're Democrat or Republican, is being paid off by corporations in order to make their policies. But thankfully we're seeing an influx of progressives, and by progressive I mean people who are truly normal Americans who are not taking influenced money from people who have ideologies or benefits from corporations to get reduction in taxes and stuff. And I believe in the progressive movement of taxing the rich who have tons and tons of money who are trying to get out of tax loopholes in order to give some benefits like universal health care and free education and things that other countries from around the world have and are normal, but we're the only country pretty much that doesn't have universal free health care, and it's because it's all bribed from establishment politicians who are in it to make money and to get money in order to have a large amount of money for their campaigns, which, by the way, in most countries, they're free and fair elections. You can't get massive amounts of millions of dollars of donations from pharmaceutical companies, for instance. That's only an American thing, and I'm really into trying to spread political awareness in a community like the vegan movement, which I think a lot of people are pretty apolitical because things are so crazy, and just sometimes people who care a lot about yoga and health and stuff just don't really get into politics. But there is a very clear link in terms of us putting out good information in public schools on nutrition, getting subsidies for healthy foods. You have to be kind of political and try to fight for an actual free and fair political system instead of a completely corrupted one, which is like we have now. So I encourage everyone to check out Democracy Now!, the Young Turks, and to support progressive candidates like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders and people like that. Just check out what they're saying because they make a lot of sense.
I just don't know enough, and I don't.
And that's fine. That's totally fine.
And I also think it's a very polarizing conversation. Same with religion, whereas it can take away from the message. I don't put my whole life on social media anymore. I just come on once in a while and I talk about a plant-based diet or jiu-jitsu or whatever. And I think a lot of times people have such strong opinions on politics and religion that everything else can go out the window on what you're saying. And I just don't want to get into it personally. That's just me. But I do think obviously change needs to happen for sure.
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much. I really think you're the man. I'm so excited to put this video out. I'll probably split it up into 2 different videos just because the Wi-Fi here sucks. If anyone wants to connect with you more, where are the best places to do that?
I'm actually getting more and more away from social media, but I still have my YouTube channel, which is Plant-Based Athlete. And I'm most active for sure on Instagram. It's 801010 athlete, 801010 athlete. Years ago, it wouldn't let me do plant-based athlete on there for some reason. I don't know. They didn't allow as many words back then, so that's why it's 801010 athlete on Instagram. But yeah, check out my stories on Instagram. I post a lot of like little quick what I eat or information on diet or jiu-jitsu or anything of that nature. But yeah, that's where I'm most active is Instagram, and I also have my YouTube channel, Plant-Based Athlete.
And is Thriving Plant-Based still happening? Your website?
I sold my half last. Yeah, so I'm out of that, which I'm glad to be. So yeah, I'm kind of getting away from social media a little bit. I just when I used to be excited to go on, and now I just want to punch the screen a lot. You know what I mean?
No, dude, it's reasonable. It makes sense, and you're such a chill dude that wants to live just like a good life. It makes total sense to me at this point in your life to be moving further away from it. But I hope you don't stop because we need people like you and people like me, in my opinion, who are rational and chill and who are also fun and not just totally. Just want to have fun and want to be silly and don't take things too seriously. I just love everything you do. So I support you with whatever you want. And thanks so much for talking, man. This was amazing.
Hey, this one last thing. I got on social media initially with no intention of ever making money. And then that did lead to my business years later. But I'm back to doing it because I want to. But the whole reason I got on social media because I want people to see that you can be an athlete and you can be normal and you can be vegan, And I think there's so much extreme out there, especially as an outsider, if I search veganism on YouTube and I came across 10 or 20 channels, I'd be like, these people are fucking nut jobs. No thanks, So I wanted to create a platform where a normal dude eats plants, you know, and that's what I've just kind of been preaching. If you followed me for years, my message really hasn't changed, and I don't think it'll ever change. I'm just a normal guy who loves jiu-jitsu, is an athlete, and likes to travel, likes minimalism, lives a simple life, loves animals, and eats a plant-based diet. And, I think we just need more normal people eating this way and thriving, and not just this absurd, extreme purity bullshit out there on the internet. So.
In a perfect world, you'd be you'd be the Kim Kardashian of social media because you're so rational. But unfortunately, in the Trump era, that is not what gets the views. Unfortunately, but whatever.
I don't care. I'm always going to be.
Thank you so much. All right.